I
Right.
was more of a stress eater. But my problem was not whenever I stressed, but the problem was like I would eat and I would not know how to stop or not don't want to stop until I'm like uncomfortably full.
Mhm.
Like sometimes even like on the verge of throwing up back in the days. It has happened like very few times, but it still happened.
Yeah.
And it's honestly ever since my last show, the a couple weeks after the show, it was great, but let's say a month and a half, 2 months after, everything starts scaling up. Having free meals, I don't know why. I still don't even comprehend why. Is my mind is like, oh, you gotta eat this now because if not, you can't. You won't eat it. And he's like, I can eat it again next week if I wanted to, but it's like I put my and this happened not too long ago, like probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
There was ice cream at the house, and I got the chocolate peanut butter with mini peanut butter cups ice cream. So okay, I ate it. I'm like, all right, I'm not full. I'm good. But there's also cookies and cream ice cream. I want cookies and cream ice cream. So then I went and get another bowl, and I didn't measure that one. So clearly it was more than the actual measure.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, that was actually good. Well, I already fucked it up, so might as well. I want a little bit more ice cream. So then I went for more ice cream, and I put both flavors this time. Like there was a time that I literally finished the gallon ice cream bucket in one sitting. I didn't even realize I was just in my phone and I started eating, and then I see like a third of the thing less. I'm like, nah, might as well. And that
Yeah.
was
Right.
like years ago. I never done it again, thankfully.
Welcome to the Eat to Grow podcast. This is your host, Kelly, and co-host.
Okay.
And today we have an incredible guest with us. This is Together More Fit coach, Matias.
What's up,
Matias, thank you
guys?
so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. This is gonna be amazing. Super excited for it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, Matthias, I know a good amount about you, but I want to get to know you a bit more. And I want our listeners to get an idea of where you've been, where you come from, and kind of what your mission is with coaching, because you're such an incredible coach. And it has been so cool to see you evolving here at TM. And I think it's really, really freaking cool that you didn't start out living in America. You actually came over here with your family, from what I understand. So tell the listeners, where are you from?
So yeah, so I'm actually from Argentina. I was born and raised there. My parents got divorced when I was very, very young, so I don't even have a memory of like my family living together. I was raised by my single mom. And but again, because of that, I never had like any bad relationship or any resentment from that topic towards my dad. And ever since I was like, I believe like 5 years old, I started coming here to the US and visiting. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Especially like all the, of course, as a kid, anything cookies, candy, and everything. I eat so much better. Um, so yeah, again, been coming and visiting, start learning English. As time went by, my dad was always like, hey, whenever you're older, I would love for you to come here so I can sponsor you your papers and get your citizenship. I'm like, that sounds amazing. I was actually very, very close to coming and doing high school here, like finish my high school, but I stayed over there back in Argentina. And then as soon as I was done, 18, almost 19 years old, I moved in, got my green card at first, a couple months later, and then I just stay here because quality of life, opportunities, and everything is much better. In regards to my family, there everyone is still back there. I only have from my biological family just my dad. Then I have a step brother and step sister. I have brother, half sister,
Sure.
and but in regards to that, there's just everyone else is back there, which I still see them. I still, of course, talk to them every once in a while, but I don't travel that much that often.
Yeah.
But yeah, then when it comes to coaching, I always been like even in high school, I was never too much of a sports guy. I was chubby, I was out of shape. I just did like PE from high school. But then as soon as I got home, video games. That was my thing. I tried going to the gym, but I was like typical 3 months in, winter came in, not going no more. It was too cold. Then 3 months in again, then dropped off. But when I moved to the US, I couldn't do anything because I didn't even have a social number. So I had a gym at ES Fitness a mile away. So I'm like, you know what? let's do something in the meantime. So I got in. I hired one of the trainers there. They offer like the entry, the welcome package offer or whatever it was. So I got myself a trainer. I started working once a week with him, and he told me like everything else to do except diet. The diet he gave me, I remember it wasn't that good. I made the math, and it was like 3,800 calories, and I didn't even know what to eat. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. And
Wow.
that's where the grapefruit story came in. He's like, you need to eat one grapefruit a day. I'm like, all right, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's so funny.
So I'm like, sure. I'm like, I
Anything
don't
he's
even know
saying.
why. Exactly. I mean, just he knew better, he looked better. So I'm like, sure thing. I'll eat a grapefruit. I didn't even like grapefruit. I'm like, ugh, this is nasty.
I'm just
Yeah.
forcing
It's
this
like,
around.
yeah. It's like, hey, I gotta do it. But yeah, so as time went by, I started like my goal first, it was like just lose weight.
Hmm.
Too much. I always love and look up to like Arnold, of course, or even cartoons like Dragon Ball Z, where their physique is insane. And I was like, wow, that would be amazing to look like that one day. But
Yeah.
at the beginning, it was just basically like just get skinny. And I even told my trainer at the times like, I want to be able to use skinny jeans. And he laughed at me. He's like, well, I mean, when you got a big legs, skinny jeans don't really look that good. I'm like, yeah, but I want to have skinny legs so I can use skinny jeans.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not like now.
No, no,
Um,
your goals have changed since then. Yeah.
oh, 100%. And then yeah, I just got myself quite lean, but then I started to like, okay, now I'm gonna get a little bit bigger, but
Mhm.
always somewhat trying to stay in a deficit because I never got like super lean like I wanted. I was believing like, oh, I don't have it in me, in my genetics or whatever. I just can't.
Mhm.
So as time went by, years went by, I hired other coaches, like especially online coaches. I found myself doing much better
Mhm.
with funny thing how things work out.
Yeah.
Found myself much better with hiring online coaches that I liked the personality better. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Joyce Wall. That was
I
one. I worked with
yeah.
him for like I paid him like 3 months for his program, and that's the first time I got super lean, like first digit, single digit body fat.
Very
And he was
cool.
like super cool as well. So I'm like, okay, this is great. After that, I kind of kept going on my own. And my dad was always like, Matias, you're like super good at this. You're always in the gym. You're always very strict with your meals. I even got him to hire Joey.
Yeah,
Funny.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And he's like, why don't you do this? Like, you try to go to college. I went for like 2 semesters and it didn't spark
Sure.
anything. And so he's like, why don't you get your certification? I'm like, that sounds like a smart idea. So then
Yeah.
I got it. And 2018, I started working as a personal trainer
Okay.
and like in Crunch Fitness. Then I went to Powerhouse Gym,
Okay.
and I kind of like liked it. It's like a lot of people from like all different ages, different backgrounds. I had older people, I had younger kids, I had group classes, I had personal classes. So I kind of got like a taste of
Awesome.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. And after a while, like my dad was like, okay, so they pay you very little at the corporate gym. So, and he knew some people working in this independent contracting gym called Self-Made Training Facility.
Okay.
And he's like, well, I know some people. Let's just go talk to them and see how you liked it because I know they are like making a quick living. They have their own apartment, their own house. They're like doing great, doing what you do, but they get paid more. I'm like, sure, okay. And we went to talk with his friends. One of them was also from Argentina. And then also we talked with the owner of the franchise that is located in Temecula, where I moved to. And it just made like, that actually sounds very promising, like very good. It's like, let's do it. And ever since then, I become like an independent trainer and not working for corporate. And further, like time skip right now, I started following Justin from working with Matt because I
Mhm.
started working with Matt and then Matt started posting Justin. So I'm like, oh, this guy seems pretty legit. Follow.
He's pretty
I
cool.
Follow.
was, yeah, he seemed decent. He seemed cool. And then I discovered Timmy Haley at that time. Then I saw Yuki, I saw Danielle, and also I saw Emily.
Yes.
And I started following everyone. And fast forward a couple of years now, I'm part of the team. I'm like, shit, that's fucking insane. It's crazy. When I think about it, it's like, ugh, goosebumps. But
I
yeah, no, it's pretty fucking cool.
That's so awesome.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh. Wait.
What a great like background. I just want to say that I'm gonna go back a little bit to your dad being so supportive of that. That is like so nice
Yeah,
to have, especially like coming to America. It's all different. Like he was really supportive of your dreams and saw what you were good at and saw that you were passionate about it. And the fact that he was like, okay, let's go talk to them. Let's see what they're about. And that's
yeah.
really important to have. And I'm so glad that you had that experience.
And I believe it has to do also because so he comes from an working for like a corporation for like General Atomics for kind of like the government, but then he started his own being independent, his own business. So I believe he always had business in the past, even when Argentina. So coming having that mindset, kind of he saw what I could do. He saw like the potential of me doing my own thing, and always try to encourage me to do that. It's like, okay, what he even still till today when we meet, he's like, hey, I'm doing this, and this idea for my industry, like a financial advisor. Why don't we try to apply something on the same for yours to like get you more reach, more leads, more clients, prospecting, stuff like that. So we still kind of go back and forth with ideas as well.
Yeah.
Wow, what a
My mom is the opposite though. My mom is like, yeah, I know, like you want to get like a job, you want to have
yep.
something secure, because I mean, she always knew my ups and lows, which I stopped sharing because I kind of don't like when people are like, no, get a job, get a job, get a job. I'm like, yeah, no, no, thank you. So
I'm all
now
set.
yeah, I'm good. I appreciate it. But yeah, so she was more of like the conservative side, but then my dad completely the opposite.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome. That's extremely interesting. I have a question for you. So
Mm.
you had to learn how to speak English, correct? Like when you,
Yes.
so how hard was that on a scale of level 1 to 10, 10 being hardest? What was that experience like?
To be completely honest, I don't remember it being hard at all
Because you speak
because
so well. Like
Yeah.
that's why I ask.
thank
It's
you.
like so fluent. Like you speak such good English that I feel like you make it look easy, but I'm sure it's
Yes, appreciate it. So I believe it has to do with first coming here since very early
yeah,
ages. I believe my first time was like 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay.
And then everyone that my dad surrounded with, his coworkers or everything at the time, speak English.
Hmm.
So from at the beginning, like listening and trying to speak a little bit. Plus, we still have English at school, but funny thing, I've never touched a single book for
Yeah.
high school or even elementary back in Argentina because everything they were teaching, I already knew it. And
Okay.
of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
the teachers there love me. It's like, oh wow, you go to you go to the US every single year. What is it like? Oh, your English is so good, like for my
Yeah.
age. And then another thing that helped me a lot was I had this I wouldn't call it pet peeve, but let's call it pet peeve. When I see like TV shows, I do not want to see like if they're recorded in English, I cannot see them in any other language. Because
Hmm.
when
Oh,
the mouth doesn't watch, it
yeah.
doesn't
Oh
match,
yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
no, no. I hate
I
it.
have one show that I love. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I've rewatched it so many times. It's called Ragnarok and it's Norwegian and it's dubbed,
Oh no.
but it's so good.
That's so
It's
funny.
such a good show that like, and I can't watch any other show that's
Yeah.
dubbed.
Yeah.
It's only that one.
But see, I would watch it on their original language and have the subtitles.
Oh, there you go.
That
I,
that's just me. So
that's
then when I was younger, what I used to do is have the subtitles. So I'm like, oh, he's saying this and that means that. So that unconsciously started helping. And then eventually I stopped. We started going to the movies in here, I was like, I'll just watch it without subtitles because I don't have subtitles here for the movies. So
Mhm.
that helped me also a lot. And then I started doing that as well in Argentina.
Hmm.
So as years went by and I talking and coming here and watching shows in English, so everything started added up. And then when I finally moved here, I was already pretty solid when it comes to that. So, phew,
That's amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
right. You're like, I'm all set. I'm good.
everything worked out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very
Mm.
cool. I know we got to have a little like chat about the nice beverage that you have there. We saw your little tea kettle there for a moment.
Yeah,
I want to
Matias.
hear more about the cultural differences in terms of like food and kind of what that looks like for you since coming to America. You know, what kind of cultural customs maybe you keep with you. We kind of talked a little bit about that and what might be changing there.
So out of the culture, I would say the only the main thing that sticks with me, it will be this. Even though I'm not drinking it constantly, I just got back into it like a couple weeks ago, maybe, if any. I'm more of a coffee guy, but right now it's like outside, it's cold. It's so this the thing with this is like it's less caffeine, of course, but it's during a prolonged time. So for the podcast for like an hour, it's perfect. I love it. Coffee would have already gone by now.
Right.
But then the difference is in Argentina, there's a lot more less processed foods, of course,
Yep.
and it's a lot of European culture from Germany, from Italy, from Spain. There's also like mainly is pasta and meat,
Okay.
big barbecues or a lot of like Italian and pasta dishes. But then also one thing that I find funny is here for breakfast, typical American breakfast, bacon, eggs, maybe
Mhm.
steak and eggs, stuff like that. In Argentina, I literally grew up having like coffee and like instant coffee on full milk, like
Mhm.
non-fat milk, but still just milk and then the instant coffee. And just like toast with cream cheese and jelly or cream cheese and dulce de leche, like the Argentinian caramel, which is better, by the way. And here I told people about that and they're like, you put jam and sour cream on a toast or cream cheese on a toast? I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? I'm like, you're weird. I'm like, well, I'm not from here, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. My terps be different.
Exactly. So then for like breakfast and like the mid-afternoon coffee, it's a lot of like pastries or toast or like little sandwiches, so stuff like that, like little things. And plus dinner times are always like 8 9 p.m. instead of 6.
Oh wow,
I
yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's my
Then
bedtime.
yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm
Right
dead.
now for me it is. I'm having dinner like 7:30 and I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, shit, how did I have dinner so late? It's
Yeah.
9 p.m. and I'm like, I want to go to bed.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel that so hard.
Yeah.
I freaking loved hearing about your evolution as a trainer, as a coach. And I want to hear more about what your ideal client is right now. Who are you most excited to work with and why?
So I always relate a lot from with people that come from the same background as I do. As I said before, I thought I could never have abs because
Mhm.
of my genetics, because of whatever it is. So someone that has already an experience in the gym, someone who has somewhat of healthy habits, like
Mhm.
not completely fast food, processed food all day, every day, and not knowledge. So somewhat already into the industry, but then that needs like that next step, or like going to the next stage in their journey. So a little bit more accountability, a little different habits that they never thought of, that are just maybe even little modifications, but then that takes them a whole lot forward. And then of course a little bit more intensity and effort on their training, but not so much to where I have to teach how to do bench press from scratch, like
Mhm.
your shoulder, your elbow, your everything, like positioning. So somewhat a little basic experience, but then to take them to the next level. I probably those are my favorite people to work with,
Yeah.
male or female, doesn't matter. And then seeing them change their lives and actually see us for the first time and actually get completely shredded for the very first time in their lives or in a very long time. I hear a lot of like, yeah, I was like that when I was in high school, but yeah, after that, my body just, yeah, it doesn't respond. So I don't think I can ever get to that. I'm like, challenge accepted, bro.
Right.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
so I love that. And then also lately, ever since got into bodybuilding, I love that. I love the details. I love the little minimal changes on mineral that can make the physique look completely different. It's like I freaking love that. So that's the next thing I want to get into it more. Like first lifestyle clients, big changes for the first time. Right next to it, right very close, second place will be bodybuilding, coaching, and preps. I love it.
Absolutely. I love
That's
that.
awesome.
Question for you. When did you
Yes.
get into bodybuilding specifically?
I would say around COVID.
Okay.
So
Oh, interesting. Interesting time to like get into it because all the chicks are
Yeah.
close.
I know it was awful. Like my first show was a good prep experience, but an awful show experience because you had masks, you had no spectators, only the judges and whoever was putting the show in place and the sponsors. That's it. Like my coach was literally at the time, he was literally peeking from like this little door frame thing is it like trying to see. And again, I didn't have anyone backstage either, so I didn't even know what to do backstage. He told me what to do, but they held me back for so long that I'm like, what should I do now?
Yeah, you're
So
Yeah.
kind of thrown to the wolves at that point. You're like,
In your first show,
yeah,
you're anyways.
Yeah.
It's such a
exactly.
weird environment to be
like,
in.
everyone's just spray tan walking
Everyone's
around like this.
naked. Everyone's
So I
smelling
was following bodybuilding for a while before I actually did it. I was kind of like, yeah, no, maybe when I grow a little bit more, maybe when this happens, or maybe when that happens. And then one of the persons from the gym at Self-Made, he was like, dude, first of all, you'll never be big enough. Second of all, you don't even know who the fuck is gonna be. Sorry for cursing. You don't even know who the hell is
bad.
gonna be at the show with you. So you don't know if they're gonna be bigger, they're gonna be smaller, they're gonna be humongous. Like you don't know. Just do it. Go for it. I'm like, you're right. Okay, I'll do it. Um, but yeah, so funny thing, right before I started prep, I was actually trying vegan diets. I did it for like a whole straight
Wow.
year. Yeah.
They change for sure.
So I
Vegan
was
vibes.
Argentinian, full meat, came here, still ate meat for getting lean and everything. I would say like 2018, I like halfway through 2018, I was like, I saw the what's that documentary on Netflix that got pretty popular?
Is it like What the Health or something? It's that
No, I
vegan
hated
one.
that one.
It's
It was
that
another one.
I
vegan.
don't know.
Oh,
Uh,
I definitely know what you're talking. There's been so many. There's
It's a
been
yes,
so
vegan
yes.
documentary.
yeah, and it like it was really pushing vegan lifestyle, hard veganism, and
Oh,
people
really?
were like
Yes,
making
but not by misleading other things, like not
right.
by saying like X is the same as eating cigarettes. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was
Um, yeah, I don't know. There it was like I remember perfectly this guy just strongman saying like, well, if you want to be strong as an ox, what does ox think? They don't eat meat, they eat plants. So I don't know. I just remember that. But anyway, I tried it and I'm not gonna say I disliked it. I mean, I still had cheat meals when I went to Argentine barbecue or burgers, or I still had whey protein isolate on my meals. But I didn't eat chicken on my regular diet. No steak, no eggs, nothing. Just beans, tofu, quinoa. No, yeah, quinoa, lentils,
okay.
I
fucking
love
edamame.
I do too.
Yeah,
I
I and funny thing. So my dad also tried it with me, and he
Yeah,
still is doing that for the most
oh,
part.
oh
Yeah, he
good.
actually really liked it.
It's
very
cool.
And
cool.
he lost a lot of weight as well by doing that. And myself as well. I got super lean, but after a point, I started getting stringy. I started losing muscle for what it feels like. And then I started talking with who then was gonna be coaching me for my first show, and he's like, "Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Yeah,
eating meat is probably the best." I'm like, "All right, cool, fuck it, bring the
Yeah.
chicken."
Bring the
So
chicken
bring the
back.
chicken.
I love that.
yeah,
That's cool.
started prep. I was working at the deli at a grocery store as well, so that was kind of hard doing the prep and having the bakery right next to me and the deli in front of me.
That is
Yeah.
right.
But still made it happen. And then surprisingly, and yeah, we had like we were pushing down for a show, and this was something that made like spark a red flag. Towards the end of the show, I started bringing gear because that was something I was okay with. Like, hey, if there's something I can take to improve everything, and we talk about it, and he's like, okay, we can do this. First red flag that I didn't know at the time. Uh, first compound that I did was test and trend.
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
like from the get go. I'm
That's
like,
yes,
I thought it was pretty cool, yeah. And then I found out I'm like, oh, that wasn't pretty cool. That was stupid, but okay,
that was
still
very
works.
stupid.
And then yeah,
Question for you before you dive deeper. How was your first experience on Trend, and what would you tell somebody that's interested in using Trend for any reason?
okay. So what was my first experience? I felt like Superman. I'm not gonna lie. I felt
Yeah.
amazing mentally and physically. Like everything went great. I loved it.
Oh, okay.
So in regards to that feedback is phenomenal. I think like I didn't do that much, probably like 200 a week,
Okay.
something like that. It wasn't too crazy, but still, it was my very first cycle, and he got me on test and trend and clean, which I'm gonna dive in a little bit later. However, for a person who wants to take trend, I would say do not do it first of all by yourself. Second of all, as a first cycle, if you have someone that's helping you,
Oh,
that was
I love it. That was great.
if you have someone helping you, like coaching you, and he puts you on trend from the get go, from the very first cycle, I would say, first of all, ask him why. Second
Mhm.
of all, tell him that you rather not do it, and if he still pushes you, then walk away.
Okay.
Right there. So it's like
doing
I
trend for
didn't know. I wish I would have known better.
Yeah.
But now that I know better, I'm like, yeah, no, that wasn't the greatest idea. But
Mhm.
still great. Nothing bad happened. So we're grateful for that. And then another red flag was Clen. So we started taking Clen. We started upping up the dose and everything. And we kept it constant. We didn't do no break, no cut or anything. And the thing with that was, since because of COVID, shows were getting announced and canceled 2 weeks out, announced and cancel a week out. So I think we had to like go back down, like get ready for the show. The show got canceled. It's like, okay, let's back off. Then, oh, okay, the show is gonna be in 3 weeks. Okay, let's push again, and then back off a little bit because it got canceled. But Clen, we kept it on all the time on like 80 micrograms, 100. So it stayed up there. And by the last show, my body was not responding at all by the last date. So we had to do like a peak week strategy for like 3 weeks straight. With like one little bottle some days, minimal carbs, like for 3 weeks straight to make my body somewhat respond and be somewhat ready.
Wow.
And we tried on the first week. It happens like, okay, let's keep it. Let's keep working. So no carbs at the beginning of the week. And as the week start going by, more carbs and less water. More carbs and water. Anyway, it worked. Great experience. Now with the show itself,
Mhm.
yeah, it was kind of weird because again, they had to wear mask on stage. There was no one, only the judges. But my main goal was like know what being on prep feels like, the whole process, as well as actually stepping on stage. I did men's physique, so it was just board shorts. And see how I feel because I was always introverted, and the thought of stepping on stage in front of people was like scary as
Mhm.
shit.
Oh yeah.
So
Honestly, I feel like since it was COVID and it was only judges, that might have been a really good first step.
Kind of, and it
That-
kind of nice, yeah.
Yeah, right. So you don't have all of these people looking at you and you're not so anxious. So you can really focus on your posing and everything else. And
Mhm.
it's only these however many judges there are.
Right.
I'm not sure, but
yes, no, that you're completely right. But with that being said, I was mentally getting ready to have people because I wanted to get past that fear as well.
Yes.
So it kind of didn't work on that end to where it's like, okay, I didn't have many people. So I'm like, oh, shit. All right. Anyway, everything else worked perfectly. And that still pushed me. It's like, okay, now I know what it feels like.
Mhm.
Having a couple, 100 people more watching me. It's like, whatever. It's not a big difference. But
Mhm.
so, and then the next time that I stepped on stage last year was in front of full crowd and on Speedos.
Yeah,
Completely different.
totally different. I
Mhm.
feel like one of the best things, I mean, there's so much I gained from bodybuilding, and I try to always talk about it in a really positive light because it was a really positive experience for me for the most part. And I think when I was in grad school and I had to do all of these like presentations and like present what was like my thesis, or it was my business plan because I did
Yeah.
that on a route. But I kept saying like competing helped so much because I was up in a bikini and 5-inch heels and like strutting my stuff. And it's like once you do that, like speaking fully
Yeah.
clothed in a professional setting is like
Easy
so much
peasy.
it does. And
No,
so
seriously.
I was like
I would even say like for people who are in the like in the bodybuilding industry and they kind of train like that, they kind of want to do it eventually, but they're like me, like on the introverted side. I would say do it
do it. Yeah.
because once you do that, you can literally do anything. First of all, for the mindset approach, like if you can get through a whole prep and not break down, not cheat, and actually do it right, you can set your mind for everything. And if you get on stage 10 to where like now a lot of people are like, oh, don't judge my body, or it's like, oh, it's wrong to do that. Well, guess what? You're on stage. People are literally gonna judge you by your body. Literally. So if you can get your ass on stage 10 and knowingly people are gonna be staring at your physique from how you look, then you can literally do anything. You can like for men's, you can even talk to the girl that you were always afraid of talking to. For girls, there's just gonna be like you can literally turn a girl to a woman from that exposure. I believe it's like you're more confident in yourself. You're not afraid of like what people may think because you literally just got judged from how you look. So
Mhm.
I would say like for introverted people, it's like yes, 100% do it at least once. If then you don't like competing, that's perfectly fine. You don't compete anymore, but at least you got the all the other benefits from it.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
At least you tried it. At least you put yourself out there. That's the biggest thing. You putting yourself out
Like
there.
literally, the worst thing that you will get from a bodybuilding show if you don't like it is a boost of confidence and change of mindset and just the ability of blocking everything and the discipline from it. Like boohoo, that's the worst case scenario. It's like, come on. That's
Yeah.
a pretty great worst case scenario if you ask me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So going back to just competition and how like you really like had to focus on your physique and all these things, what do you think about body image and bodybuilding? What was your take on that? Did you have trouble?
So when it comes to like my own body image,
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, no, 100% I had trouble. I have trouble, have, and probably will have, honestly. It's just like when you're in a bodybuilding show in bodybuilding prep, especially with social media right now, like you see everyone and everything, you're always thinking it's like I'm not big enough, you're not lean enough, you don't look good enough, or this guy looks better than me, or in the case of the girls, this girl has a bigger butt than I do, or bigger shoulders, or whatever it is. So it's constantly digging in your head, that negative self-talk, and it it's a toll on your head. It's like it causes stress, raises cortisol, makes your results look worse, like a whole snowball effect of things. In my personal case, I'm like, again, even from the first show, it's like, oh, I'm not big enough. Like even before thinking on starting prep,
Yeah.
I'm not big enough, and that's still is in my head. I see people, even in person or on Instagram, even though in Instagram it's just the angle and the edits and whatever it is, I still think like, shit, I'm still not big enough. Like that guy's still bigger than me, but then in reality, it may be the opposite way. That guy's like not even bigger than me. So that still kind of plays a part. Like I look at the pictures back then, and I'm like, shit. I kind of like the off-season body. I'm like, oh, it's a tough one. I
Yeah.
like ever since I got into that lean from my last show with Matt, it's like I want to be that lean every single day. I want to have veins in my abs all year. I want to be like an anatomy chart year round, like all day. So definitely body image is something that I used to and I still struggle with 100%.
And if you don't mind me asking, if you could share your eating disorder, your experience with that. And
Oof. So eating disorder, I never had like a proper like being well, I would say yeah, binge eating would be the actual name that we can put it in, just because it's not like I'm like bored and I just start eating. I was more of a stress eater, but my problem was not whenever I stressed, but the problem was like I would eat and I would not know how to stop or not don't want to stop until I'm like uncomfortably full. Like sometimes even like at the verge of throwing up back in the days. It has happened like very few times, but it still happened.
Yeah.
And it's honestly ever since my last show, the a couple weeks after the show, it was great, but let's say a month and a half, 2 months after, everything starts scaling up. Having free meals, I don't know why. I still don't even comprehend why. Is my mind is like, oh, you gotta eat this now because if not, you can't. You won't eat it. And he's like, I can eat it again next week if I wanted to, but it's like I put and this happened not too long ago, like probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
There was ice cream at the house. I got a literally serving of ice cream, having in mind what the post that you made, Kelly, like
Yeah.
bring in one serving of ice cream, see how you feel. It's like, okay. And I got the chocolate peanut butter with mini peanut butter cups ice cream. So okay. I ate it. I'm like, all right, I'm not full. I'm good. But there's also cookies and cream ice cream. I want cookies and cream ice cream. So then I went and get another bowl. And I didn't measure that one. So clearly it was more than the actual measure.
Wow.
And then I'm like, oh, that was actually good. Well, I already fucked it up, so might as well. I want a little bit more ice cream. So then I went for more ice cream and I put both flavors this time. So those things. My personal weakness is buffets or
Okay.
like let's call it the potlucks where you are in a place with like a lot of food. Um or all you can eat sushi, for example. Ice cream.
that's a hard one.
Yeah, seriously. Well, but the thing with all you can eat sushi is you still gotta order it, so you can easily stop. But
Yeah,
buffets
yeah.
is like you really no one's stopping you. You just get up and go grab it. That's
Right.
the thing.
And it's like
So
part of
I would say buffets. ice cream, like there was a time that I literally finished the gallon ice cream bucket in one sitting. I didn't even realize. I was just in my phone and I started eating, and then I see like a third of the thing less. I'm like, nah, I might as well. And that
Yeah.
was
Right.
like years ago. I never done it again, thankfully. But that, and then charcuterie boards.
Okay.
You put me in front of a charcuterie board and I'm eating like a good amount. And that's another thing that happened not too long ago. I was having my meals. My girlfriend and her mom were eating like a little charcuterie board. So I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna grab a little cheese because I never tried that type of cheese, so I'm gonna try it. And I kept eating my meal. And they had the cheese and meats right next to me. I'm like, okay, maybe just a little bit with this. And I grab another one. And I'm like, oh, that was really good. And then another one. And then another one. And ended up having like a probably like a good amount of calories from an unplanned meal in the middle of the week. I'm like, why did I fucking do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's always still been ongoing, even though, for example, going out for a restaurant
Mhm.
and having dessert, or maybe not even having dessert makes it worse. I'm like, oh, I kind of want dessert right now. Since I have a cheat meal, it's like it seems fit to have dessert after a cheat meal. So going to a grocery store, buying a Ben and Jerry's, or going like for example Shake Shack and having like my meals, and then the shake, the milkshake, or having dessert at a restaurant, like a little piece of cake, but then oh, I'm not full and I kind of want ice cream. So ice cream is my poison.
Okay.
And then either getting some from the house if it's there's here, or going to a grocery store. It's like that ain't good. And I've noticed a lot that happened because of stressful moments. Like ever since it started happening after my show, there has been a lot of stress in other areas of life which trigger me to do that because I was never like that before, ever. I was always great with desserts. I was always great with charcuterie boards and eating until satiated, or maybe like if like the holidays or something, and I got like Thanksgiving. Come on, we all unbutton our pants.
Yeah.
So, but that's like let's call it normal. It's not good, but it's still somewhat normal. But now it started having like every free meal to the point it started like being unhealthy. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? This ain't me. Like I'm not like this. So then I started like, okay, let's take a step back. What the fuck's going on? So even like just taking a perspective and saying like, okay, now I see why it's happening. And starting to apply those changes in my life. So then it reflects to my binge eating, or like just eating episodes where like I literally won't stop until I'm stuffed, literally. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, thank you for sharing that. That was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
your vulnerability is great. And I think a lot of people in the bodybuilding space, they deal with some form of binge eating. And I know I've
Yeah.
had my own experiences with that even before I started bodybuilding. I think when it comes to emotions coming into play, triggering binge eating, that's also another complex relationship. It's not just, oh, I did a contest prep, I was restricting calories, my body's in survival mode, and it's trying to get back to homeostasis, because that is one avenue for binge eating to come into play. But where you mention stress seems to be a trigger for some of the emotional eating that comes up for you. Do you have any specific coping mechanisms that you lean into that you find to be helpful to prevent an emotional eating episode from happening, or lessening the severity of it, that you can share?
So I would say the one thing that helped me the most is being conscious about it.
Just, yeah, self-awareness.
It's just as simple. Yes, perfectly said. That's the word I was looking for. Perfectly, just being aware of like, okay, I'm stressed. I'm not hungry, but this is happening. I'm eating this because I'm stressed. I'm just gonna take a step back
Okay.
and just stepping away. As easy as that.
Mm-hmm.
You already had some. That's okay. Don't make it worse. Just put it away. Go away.
Yeah.
Go for a walk. Make some
Mhm.
mate. This will fill you up.
Yeah.
Like you're like it seems simple, but I'm having like a liter. Oh, it doesn't seem
I'm
like
so
a
excited.
liter plus of water. Just I mean tea constantly. It fills you up. Plus it does have fiber in it, so it also helps you go to the bathroom as well. So even great. Two plus.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
stuff like that. Drinking water. Also another thing that helps me with like if I'm like stressed and I want something, like oh I need something sweet, I need something whatever. diet sodas.
Mhm.
I just Coke Zero or the Dr. Pepper, the strawberries and cream zero has been delicious.
I'm a Dr. Pepper girly.
Yes.
I got a
Yeah.
shirt.
She's ready.
I am ready for a Dr. Pepper
Yeah,
at any.
the strawberries and cream are my kryptonite, honestly, from all the sodas.
I tried one of those. I don't know if it's my favorite. I like the OG, but
Yeah.
Yeah. And
other
then you're not to spoil it, but there is one coming that is a coconut cream soda, which I really want to try.
Oh, that sounds
honestly,
good.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking for that and trying it. But yeah, just like um self-awareness, sodas instead of ice cream, that's fucking great, like diet soda. Or just it can be like if it's sunny outside, just get out of the house.
Yeah.
Get as far away from any food establishment slash source that you can. And you get like distracted. You start thinking other things. You may just like go on your phone, or in my case, just like do some content while you're outside or whatever. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, okay, I feel better now. I can go back. And then you go back. It's like, you're totally fine.
like you forget about it. You totally forget that
Yeah,
moment.
you
Oh,
literally
wait.
distract yourself away from the stress.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of when I'm working with clients that are experiencing emotional eating, a big tool that we lean into is distractions or removing yourself from that environment. And a lot of the time, that environment will be the kitchen or it'll be the living room. And so, diverting from that environment can be super helpful. I think your point about self-awareness that it's happening is very crucial. And in that first step of behavior change to acknowledge that. I also find for some people, journaling can be helpful and kind of journaling about the experience, like, well, what emotions are coming up and what are we trying to cope with that? And if you have somebody to reflect with, like my clients will reflect with me, it sometimes can help process some of those emotions. So, just a few other tips I wanted to throw in there for listeners that might also be experiencing some emotional eating that can be really helpful. And I think everybody finds something that works for them and it looks a little different. But I'm glad that you're identifying coping mechanisms to help you work through it. That's really
Yes.
good.
And
Uh,
honestly, I love the journaling thought of it, or just like aspect. I just I tried it for a little bit. I liked it. I got into it, but then I just couldn't fully get into it. And I just wanted to mention because I wanted to, I know a lot of people say like, oh, stress relieving episode or mindful techniques, journaling. So people, even myself, I was like, oh, I need to journal to feel better. I'm like, no, if it works for you, fantastic, phenomenal. I love it. Keep at it. If you like it, wonderful. Use it. But if it doesn't, it's okay. There's a thousand ways to skin a cat. There's a thousand other ways that you can do to cope with whatever you're dealing with. So it doesn't
Absolutely.
have to be like one size fits all technique or anything.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, don't ever force yourself to conform to everyone else's coping mechanism. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Funny thing is like if you force yourself to do that, then you're gonna be stressed about that. Because like
Exactly. Yeah, it's just
damn, it's
gonna
like
make
I
it
need to
worse.
journal, but I cannot journal. I don't know what to journal. Oh my goodness. There you're stressed.
Absolutely.
So I have some facts about some eating disorders in men, which I found so interesting.
Ooh,
It's
let me see.
it's mind blowing once you hear this. So the first one in four people that are diagnosed with eating disorder is a man.
Mhm.
Isn't that crazy?
We always associate it with
We
women.
associate it with women, and it's the stigma.
Yeah.
I 25% of people with eating disorder is men.
Yeah.
And I can push that even further and relate it to, first of all, how men don't speak up because of, even I was talking with my girlfriend not too long ago. It was like I posted a story not too long ago when I was going through basically a mental breakdown, and I was trying to type it on my story, and I just couldn't uh, upload it because I'm like, I started thinking, it's like, I'm a man. Is this come like a crybaby? Am I calling, screaming for help, or a pity cry, or whatever it is? So I was like, I asked her, it's like, why is it so hard for men to post this? I'm not here asking for help, or I'm not here asking for pity. I just want to share it so people know that it's okay. Like we all go through this. But why is it so hard to upload? It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of us men just don't speak up because they have that thought of like, oh, man, provider, alpha male, strong always, never show weakness, don't bleed next to a shark, blah blah. I'm like, who told you that being honest and a little bit vulnerable is bleeding next to a shark. It's like you're just being honest. You're just sharing what's going on. You're just not letting it bottle up. So to your point, Kate is one of 4 men in a disorder. I believe I would even say it's more than one of 4 men. Same thing as one of 4 men deal with mental health. Same as, and then that can correlate with why men's suicidal rate is so much higher than women
Mm-hmm.
because
Totally.
they just bottle it up, they save it, and one because they don't speak about it, there's a day that it explodes, and unfortunately, that's one outcome that most men think it's okay to do, which it's unfortunate and it's sad to hear, but I believe that's one of the main causes from it.
Absolutely. There is such a stigma, and it is definitely underreported. Eating disorders in general are underreported for sure,
Hmm.
but especially with
Some
men.
people don't even think their disorder is actually a disorder.
That's
Oh, absolutely.
people don't think they're sick enough. And I think people feel as though there's this like, this picture of an eating disorder, somebody hooked up to a feeding tube, they're very frail, they're very skinny, and that's the only way that you are sick enough to be in treatment for an eating disorder. When I was interning, I can tell you there were more normal body types or larger body types in the eating disorder facility than there were that, picture that we may all have in our brain of like what an eating disorder is.
Yeah, it's almost like our eating disorder, that picture is just a small little body.
It
Like
is.
you think
Yeah.
that eating disorder, you associate that with being so skinny, but
Right.
there's so many body types within that.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that.
And we can
I
even
actually would say, like, even myself, I associate it with either the bulimia aspect, like super skinny, or the complete opposite, like super obese. Like they just kind of get away from processed foods or junk food, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
So
never people like normal looking people.
yeah, yeah. So binge eating this is also another fact that I researched is the most um prevalent in men. So that could also play a part in the stigma. It's like they don't see themselves as skinny, so they don't think they have an eating disorder. You know what I mean? They just think they're a man, they can eat more.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to eat more, they're able to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they're okay with a little bit of belly.
Yeah, exactly.
That bad, yeah. But then the woman gets overweight, like, oh no, you should take care of yourself more while eating a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Like ironic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no, yeah, 100% binge eating perfectly. I wouldn't even say binge eating is just like snacking and eating all day. They may not even stuff themselves to complete fullness, but they're just constantly eating and constantly having some sort of food or snack in their hands and not just nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
From breakfast, then something during the day that they find in the office, and then lunch, and then a bag of chips in the afternoon, then something with the coffee, and then at dinner. So it's like they're constantly eating and eating junk and just like not even being conscious about it. They're just automatically do it like autopilot.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I just thought of while we were having this conversation, it could be an oral fixation type thing. So
Oh,
you know
that's
when
big.
when people
Very
like
big. Yeah.
either like use a vape or something, like they'll say it's like an oral fixation, need that, or chew gum or something with your
Yeah.
mouth is moving.
Funny
That could
things, yeah. Smokers have that tendency. Once they quit smoking, they are constantly having snacks, and you see them just like grabbing this. And funny fact, I was a smoker actually when I was a teenager. Yeah, awful.
Yeah.
I know.
How'd you quit?
Cold turkey.
Yeah, cold turkey.
Yeah,
Just
actually, it was a funny story. So I never smoked when I moved to the US or when I was coming here. I started smoking at 14. In Argentina, it's like super common. It's
sure.
Mhm.
normalized. It's like you see teenagers smoking. Oh, well, that sucks, but okay. Here it's like they put a cross on you, which is phenomenal. I love that. But then coming here, I never smoked. Then I started smoking when I was here because I was already living and I got into the habit again. And this was 2021. I was living in my apartment and I was hanging out with this girl. And I've never told anyone that I smoked ever. No one, zero. Not even my stepbrother and sister. And she got in my car, and I always made a rule to not smoke in the car or smoke very little with the window open so it doesn't smell. And she got in the car and she's like, "Do you smoke?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Why do you smell smoke?" And she's like, "Yeah, it smells like cigarettes." Like, And I said like it was from the previous owner of the car because I got a used car. So I
Uh,
kind of like throw it away on the previous owner, poor lady. And ever
sorry.
since that time, I believe I still had like a box half full. I just threw it away and never touched one again.
Wow, look at that.
That's
Yeah.
so
So what I was gonna say is when you say you smoke cigarettes, you get so used to the smell that you cannot tell.
Oh,
And
yeah,
when
you're-
someone
Yes.
walks around you, it's not, I'm not saying that you reeked of it, but some people would like smell like it and they're like
Yeah.
walking, you're like, oh,
yeah.
It's like, what does it smell like that? No,
yeah,
100%.
right.
I know that. I always knew it. It's just like you said you're used to it, that the subtle smell, you don't
Yeah.
notice it. Unless like you're constantly smelling, or for example in Argentina in the nightclubs, they allow you to smoke indoors.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
So you're like all night inside a facility, a closed environment with people smoking constantly. So your clothes actually stink.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Disgusting.
Oh,
So then you grab like your shirt. Ugh, even for me as a smoker, I was like, I need to wash this shit. So
Yeah. No, I feel that. My mom and dad, they smoked cigarettes like pretty much my whole life. My mom quit during COVID cold turkey after like 60 years of
nice.
smoking. She just decided I'm done,
I'm,
which is
you
crazy.
know what?
Shout out my
I'm
mom. She watches the podcast. I'm so proud of you.
Kudo,
But
yeah.
it almost is comforting to smell the smell of cigarettes. And I know that sounds so weird, but like that's like, I know my mom's gonna hate that I said that, but I almost associate it with like that's what home smelled like.
Yeah.
And it's so like comforting to me. So anyone that smells like cigarettes, I'm like, oh, that's like home.
Please hug me.
I know, literally. Oh my God. I've never
You're
smoked.
like, you're like relief and
Yeah.
disgusted from this one.
Yeah.
I
So
can relate to that. I still have this like, so I never liked the smell of smoke. Like now that I don't smoke anymore, notice it even more. However, I do miss like in Argentina after a big meal, a big barbecue, you just sit down with your friends or family and just have a cigarette, just like after the meal. It's like
Yeah.
the Italian coffee after a meal. Well, for Argentina, it's like the cigarette.
or
That was a relaxing and actually like a good tasting smoke that I sometimes miss, but I'm not gonna do it now. Sometimes when I get to I see my girlfriend's grandpa, we smoke like cigars with him. I smoke like a little bit because I cannot handle that much, but that's somewhat like that feeling. But still, the cigarette after a big meal, it's irreplaceable, unfortunately.
gosh, I'm sure there are people listening that are feeling very similar to that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm sure.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm proud of you for quitting. I'm proud of you for
I know.
staying
you.
strong. It's good for you. Good
Cold
for your
turkey
health.
is hard.
It is hard.
That's
but
hard.
Motivation by a woman a little bit there, maybe in a
Yeah,
way.
right.
Yeah,
Called you out. You're like,
I
oh
think it
crap,
was
I don't want to feel like this.
yeah. It was either motivation or just fear of being called out and being discovered because I kept it
Right.
as a secret so long. I'm like, oh, I don't want people to find me like I'm a smoker and think less of me because here is like taboo. It's like they'll put a cross on you. So I'm like, oh, I don't want that. So
Yes. No.
wasn't me.
So proud. Awesome, Matias. So we have some rapid fire questions for you that we would love
Yes.
to kind of fire off right ahead. So go ahead, Kate.
Yeah. So the first one, chicken or beef for
Beef.
protein?
I'm not even thinking about it. Beef, 100%.
Really?
I'm Argentinian. I love red meat. I love steak. I love ground beef. I love lamb, bison, venison, uh, any kind of red meat. Yeah.
Me neither. No, I'm like a baby. I'm like a
won't eat-
chicketarian. I like will only eat
Chicketarian.
chicken. And I'll eat beef. Like if I'm like getting a good steak, I'll eat steak. But like I'm like chicken everything, chicken everything.
Yeah, I'm always chicken. I won't eat veal because I can taste the sadness in it.
Oh, that's like
It's a big cow.
Yeah.
I have vowed to
See,
never.
I don't think I've ever had that, like veal. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that. I had lamb, of course. I had bison. The venison I had once. I just bought ground venison one time because it sounded good, and I tried it and I liked it. But yeah, I don't think I had veal, and I never had organs, like no brain,
Me
no
neither.
liver. Wait,
Oh, and not to
let me
like yum
correct.
somebody's yum. Let me make that clear. I'm like happy if you like
I
it.
totally just gagged on
I
it.
know.
Let me
Like
let me
you.
correct myself. So I've never had liver, and there's another organ that they sell in the butchers, usually from the cows. However, in Argentina, one of the things that they serve on Argentine barbecues is the small intestines, and it's delicious,
Oh, really? I know.
absolutely delicious. And it's actually like I thought it was like super fatty, but I look at the macros, I'm like, this is actually pretty freaking good. It's like,
Wow.
wow, it's
That's
better
so
than an
funny.
85-15 ground beef. I'm like, damn, bring him, bring the small
Come on.
intestines.
He's like, I love the small intestines. He's like, give it
Oh,
to me.
The
it's so
thought of
good,
that.
so
Yeah.
good.
I'm with you on that. Oh my
I'm like want to gag right now. I have such
She's like,
a
I
sensitive gag reflex.
She's gonna start vomiting right now. Her
Good thing there's a
ideas.
sink
In the
right
podcast.
All right, so next question. I think this is such a good question. What
Ooh.
is the weirdest food combo you've ever made in prep?
Oh my goodness, you're talking with an expert right now. I'm the king of weird food combos. So, all right, I first of all I got super lazy one point of having like fruit and meals, or like oatmeal in one side and then the chicken or steak on the other side, that I started mixing all together. I even have a reel that I made, one of my first reels, that it was oatmeal, ground beef, eggs, onions, blueberries, and spicy sauce.
I'm sorry, Matthias. That is so crazy. That is like so many different terms.
It
I
was
can't.
so good.
And I bet he was like, this was so good in the
It
moment.
was
Like,
delicious.
yeah.
You got
Well,
this.
here's my thought process though. What's oatmeal? A grain,
Yeah.
right? What's
Yeah.
rice?
Agreed. It's a savory oatmeal you made. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
People
And I
like
always made it more creamier, like put a little bit extra water, so then it's more like a risotto type of texture.
okay.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty damn good. Then that was my starting point. Like everyone was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you put blueberries on your oatmeal and steak, and what the fuck?" But it was so good. Then the next one, I would say I really like the cinnamon and mustard on chicken and rice. I got that from Nick Walker. I call
Oh,
it cheap curry. Okay, here's the thing, Kate. Everyone will try it and everyone will say it smells so good
Yeah.
until they know what it is.
yeah.
And I
Okay.
had people that I'm like, oh no, yeah, they're like, oh, it smells very good. What is it? Oh, you want to try a little bit? Like, sure, yeah. They try it. They're like, wow, this is pretty good. What is it? Cinnamon and mustard. They're like, immediately. But then they like it and they start even doing it. I'm like, mission accomplished.
Oh my
Well, I
God.
guess you know what?
It's like honey mustard, maybe.
It's like honey Dijon.
Oh, maybe.
Now I'm thinking,
I always call it a
Oh,
cheap
I'm
curry.
uncultured about everything.
but like honey mustard, I guess.
It is. So the cinnamon gives a little bit of sweetness to the mustard, so it's not as acidic, but it's not as sweet as honey mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 0 calories, and for prep, it's like fucking amazing.
It's the two names that I think
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
messed.
yeah. It's hard to grasp the concept about it. It's like, but then you
Yeah.
try it. It's like, oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say those are my two weird combos from prep.
I love that. That's so funny. So next question, do you like potatoes or rice?
If you had
Oh, I
to
like both.
You gotta choose one, yeah.
potatoes versus rice, yeah.
Which is pretty hard, but
Shit, I would say rice.
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 I'm
Interesting.
Yeah.
potatoes.
So am I. So
Team potatoes over here.
Like, I
Potatoes.
love sweet potatoes. Like, I have two of my current meals right now with sweet potatoes, but rice, I believe, is more versatile. Like, I can put anything with rice and it will still taste good. Sweet potatoes, it's almost close enough, but I would say this. For regular meals, like my daily meals, rice. If I'm going out, give me some roasted potatoes all day, every single day. No, I wouldn't even doubt it. That's
So
a hard one.
next and last question, what is your go-to intuitive eating meal? Or untracked meal?
Okay, I was gonna say funny thing. I've never done an intuitive eating meal, intuitive eating
Oh,
day.
we're gonna change that in Texas. We're gonna
So
do that.
Okay,
We'll
bet.
go all
One
three.
thing
Sorry,
is,
I'm telling you, I'm not asking,
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
hey, I'm so down. But here's one thing. One time I remember I was like super overtrained, mentally fatigued, like everything. And my coach told me, he's like, I want you to take a week off of bodybuilding entirely. No meals, no training, no nothing. So I was like, what the hell do I do? What do I eat?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Wait,
I was like completely lost. I was like freaking out because this is new. I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
So I started freaking out. But then thankfully we went out for the weekend. Like we already had planned going out to Palm Springs for the weekend. So it fit perfectly. So I had, I don't know, bagel breakfast sandwich, then a regular lunch. But I still was like, should I stick to my meals? Should I not eat protein? Should I eat oatmeal? What the
Right.
I don't know. Now I'm much better on it. There are some days that I don't purposely call it intuitive eating. However, Sometimes I'm like, oh, I just put double protein, or I just do this carb source instead of that one that I always do. Oh, I just want a toast right now, so I'll just do a toast instead of potatoes. I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, my free meal go-to, oh, that's hard. I would say more often than not, I do have either Shake Shack or Chick-fil-A.
Okay. Oh, those are good options.
Yeah, those are two
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
ones.
Those are good. Those are goodies.
Yeah.
Never
It just depends on what I feel like. I feel like eating chicken sandwich, or I feel like eating a nice burger and fries. I'm like, yeah. But I
Yeah.
have everything. Like if I can go to a steakhouse every single free meal, I
Oh,
would 100% go.
right. That's awesome.
I
No,
know.
Yeah.
that makes sense. Burger,
Or
Chick-fil-A.
homemade burgers, much better.
Ty makes the bet. Ty is my boyfriend, by the way. Her John's
Mm.
brother. You know the background. So he ate dinner with his whole family, and then I came over in the middle of dinner, just walked in, and they were all done basically. He was like, "Oh, I can make you a burger if you want." And I'm like, "Yes, please. I would
Please.
like one since I just
Please.
missed out on this."
That's so
And
funny.
he made the best burger.
He's got Jim's
Friggin-
cooking genes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was so delicious.
You know,
And I'm-
it's so good. I love making the burgers from scratch. Like I buy the ground beef, I'll put the seasonings, I'll put the eggs, the breadcrumbs if I'm gonna do that, everything from scratch. And then what funny thing, not so long ago we made like a little burger dinner, and we literally spent like buying burgers, the cheese, the bread, the veggies, and everything for $27.
Okay.
That's like no, I would yeah, I would say that 17 or 27 either or. But 17 $20 is a regular meal at Shake Shack or Chick-fil-A for me. So I'm like, I just spend a little bit more on that. You can literally feed the whole family.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I'm
Yes.
like, and it's much better and it's much healthier and it's less calories as well too. So it's like win.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Well,
Definitely.
we'll have to get some homemade burger stuff. Maybe we
I
can do it
know.
at the meetup. Maybe we can make them
I
at
would
Jimmy.
I would I will happily take charge of that. I love cooking, by the way.
Let's
I love
do it.
anything that has to do with the
Chef
grill.
Matias coming into play. Let's go. I love it.
I'll be
Yeah.
so down.
Oh my gosh. Matthias, it's been so awesome chatting with you.
Yeah.
I want you to plug away where people can find you.
Yeah, so my Instagram is Matias Kalmar with a K. Right now that's mostly the only social media that I use. Facebook, I'm on it too. It's the same thing, Matias Kalmar, but that's pretty much it. I mainly on Instagram, so you can find me there. You can find me the rest of today on the TM Instagrams on Fridays and for now Mondays as well. So if anything, just shoot me a DM, shoot me a question. I always love talking to new people and giving advice whenever I can. It's always
Awesome.
grateful.
I love it. And are you taking new clients right now for Strive 45 and one-on-one coaching?
Oh, Strive 45. I'm so fired up for it. Yes, 100%. Strive 45, I'm like, okay, people who are like kind of on the fence of getting a coach, which knowing TM how we work, I don't know why you're on the fence. Like we literally do things that no one else does in the coaching industry. So you should not be kind of like 50-50 in and out. However, I understand finances may be a struggle. So giving a 45-day jump start for just $2 a day, it's a no-brainer for me. So that is always welcome. But then if you want like the real full experience with coaching, yes, I'm always open to take people. I still have a lot of space that I can still manage to help clients with. So more than welcome. And also in-person clients if you're local to San Diego.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yes, hit Matthias up. He's freaking awesome. He's one of the best coaches I've had the opportunity to come in contact with. He is so freaking amazing with his people, the stuff that he's doing. So hit him up if you're interested. Strive 45, one-on-one coaching. If you want to just chat with him on Instagram, shoot him a message. And Matthias, we can't wait to have you back on. We're definitely having you on.
Thank you. Oh, that's gonna be so much fun. I loved it. Thank you guys for having me today.
Of
It was
course.
wonderful.
Thank
So fun.
you. Awesome. All righty.